Recording.
Thank you, Tina. All right. So should we nominate Terry for chair since she's not here?
Yes. No, I don't know. Honestly, this is the one thing I don't mind like taking charge on. It's been the policy piece I've been working on for years now.
Well, I nominate you then for chair.
And facilitating these meetings, I don't think will be too complicated.
No.
I think the big part is just kind of figuring out how deep we want to dive into policy. But it seems much nicer now that we've decided that we're not actually going to be doing the writing of the policy. Now we just need to do the proposal piece.
Yeah.
So I think we can probably work on that mostly offline and sort of just pass it back and forth until we get somewhere, and then let's just set up another meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we need to spend a lot of time in these meetings fleshing out any kind of details when it's, we'll just merge some ideas, get a basic structure in place, and then just go from there. Give it to the commission to decide if they want to vote up or down on it.
Yeah. So I think it's kind of like just us each taking some time, if we can find it, to read over. I think the Jacksonville policy that I sent, and comparing that to the Pierce County charter. And then kind of deciding, because the Jacksonville, they use actually an office within their city council or within their city government, and an inspector general is what they go off of. And the Pierce County is an ethics commission. And I think part of the issue with an ethics commission is asking people to do that kind of work for free.
Yeah.
Like on a volunteer basis means that they're not going to be able to put as much work into it.
Or they're going to an agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, you're like at the point where you're appointing, the council's appointing the same people. Like it's sort of what we're already running into is the council polices itself.
Yep.
So, oops.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to avoid.
Yeah. So I think that's part of the, like, we should probably discuss those differences. I'd hate to do too much before Terry is here though.
Yeah, that's true. And I know she's not going to be on for another half an hour, so.
I also don't want to waste 30 minutes. So I don't know, like, maybe we can just bring it up. Let me see if I've got it up. The other thing too that I was thinking about was sort of this idea of, does it even show me the screens? There we go. There we go. Because here they have it as its own, well, I guess it does fall under government then. But here, so yeah, they have a commission and an inspector general.
Yeah.
But this is certainly a lot more in depth in talking about the ethics code, the commission. So,
well, I think the best way to stay within our purview would be to present the commission with an option of going with an ethics commission, or do they want an ethics office with an inspector general and a separate, something that's not, police. So the council's not policing themselves, and people aren't working for free or with an agenda. Give them those two options, and then let the commission then see which we want to take to the voters, if both or if any.
yeah, well, it looks like kind of here they do have a commission. So I'm just trying to think about what that looks like.
Yeah, if it's more like a what do they call that? A grand jury, where you
Yeah.
have, outside people without ties coming in then to act as, the commission to see if there was any ethics issues that need to be addressed, and then whether they're going to follow through on a complaint or not. But then actually have an office of the inspector general, though, who then is in charge of investigating all of those complaints.
Yeah, so that looks how they split it out. So they have an ethics commission. It looks like the commission's job is maintaining an ethics hotline for the intake of allegations and violations of the ethics code, and manage and coordinate training and education of law officers, employees, and state and local ethics. They have authority to refer ethics matters to appropriate enforcement agencies. So I think that's kind of like the piece that would be missing if we just went with an ethics commission, is the enforcement.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why they have down here, they do the oversight. They have an ethics oversight and compliance office. So yeah, I think this is something we'll just have to take back to the board. So put together a proposal and talk about the different options
Yeah.
and the pros and cons. And probably a why piece, like why do we need an ethics? Why do we need ethics policy? Why do we need an ethics commission? Actually, and city ethics has a very nice already done PowerPoint that we can use. Let's see. Yeah. So this is like, we could probably just take some parts of this and put together a little presentation for the commission
Yeah.
um, with our proposal. So I think this is like this is the piece that most people miss. I think it's in here somewhere. About kind of like what the differences are between government ethics and personal ethics, because that's where most people get pretty confused.
Right. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, but that's I think that's kind of like, I guess, where our plan should go. But I only wasted 9 minutes.
Well, I like the idea of having a proposal that is a gradient between our current place where there's really not anything that's enforceable, to a commission all the way up to having an office of compliance that can actually has the authority to levy fines or fees or whatever. I think it's really cool to have a gradient proposal saying how far do you want to the committee or the ethics, how far do you want the elected leaders in our community to be held accountable for what they do.
Yeah.
And it's I like that proposal, and then let the commission decide as a body how far they think that the voters would support. I
Yeah.
think there is probably uh, the appetite in Clark County for a pretty strong ethics commission because of all of the questionable behavior all over Clark County over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think there definitely is an I mean, obviously, a lot of us ran on ethics as part of our policy and we won. So there's definitely
yeah,
an appetite for the institution of some ethics policy within the charter. And so I think how far we can go. So I think, yeah, putting together a proposal, especially having something solid for our town halls, because
yeah,
getting that input from the voters themselves of like what they think is acceptable.
yeah.
But this is probably going to be the most intensive amendment. everything else is a little bit more straightforward for people to understand, like the hows and the whys of it.
Yeah. I think, if we were doing ranked choice, that would be a little bit of education. This is going to be a lot of education, um, and there's going to be probably be a lot of pushback from those members of leadership who don't like to follow the rules.
And
So,
those, I mean, I think there's a lot of, because there's that understanding the difference between personal ethics and government ethics. So a lot of people think they're a good person, but may not necessarily be ethical in governance,
right.
even if they're super ethical as a person, because those things are very different.
Absolutely, and it happens so often in all across the political spectrum in party politics, where people are so ingrained into these believing that building relationships is what makes politics run, which in effect it does. But if you're doing questionable relationships and decision making process to build those relationships, that's where that fight, the bite comes from it, and that's where you start to trample on good political ethics. So it is going to be a bit of a educational challenge because a lot of people are going to see, oh well, what are they doing wrong? They're just helping out those who help them get where they are, and that's not what you're there for. You don't drive your policy by who was the biggest political donor.
Yep. But
Yeah,
that's unfortunately the way government's been working. So this is our opportunity to make Clark County have really good governance.
absolutely. At least give the voters the option if they want to
Yeah.
go that direction, which I
Yeah, so
hope
I
they
think
do.
that's kind of like where we're landing here is, and I can do a lot of this legwork since I mean, I've been working a lot in the community for the last few years on this ethics
Yeah,
policy education, and um, so yeah, I don't mind so much on this one. This was the one thing I really ran. This and ranked choice voting were the two major policy positions. Um, so I think, yeah, we can work on that. I'll send some stuff out. We can start drafting like a PowerPoint presentation for the group, for the whole commission, with um, sort of a summary of the different policy, the what we have now, the Pierce County model, and then the Jacksonville model. Sort of the see some in between. I don't know.
yeah,
I mean, I would like to push to begin with, push for the policy we want, or even a little bit beyond the policy we want, so that we can land on the policy that we want.
yeah. Because I think obviously we're going to have some pushback um, on the spectrum of how
Mhm.
far we believe, because we've got some people on the commission who are stating you can't what was the statement? You can't legislate good ethics or good behavior, but you really can if you put the guides in place and the education in place for people to see how it actually should run. Because it doesn't matter how great a person you think you are electing is, there's always different levels of temptation and different levels of ethical and questionable decision making, and to have a framework in place that clearly delineates what's allowed and what is not is, I think, a very important uh, piece that we're lacking in this charter.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's definitely something we can fix. But yeah, we're gonna see some pushback, and a lot of people not understanding that the crime of corruption is not something that you ever prove. It's about appearance. And
Yeah,
so, in order to reduce corruption, you have to reduce the appearance of corruption, which means being pretty strict on ethics.
absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's one thing I loved about being in the union and then later being a manager outside of the union is that all of the rules were very clear. And it not there, in companies that aren't union, you have a lot more gray area, which allows for abuse of the system. Whereas if you have a contract that everybody has to follow, there is no gray area. You just follow the rules, and everybody, both the managers and the union members, can follow that, and they know whether they're out of line. And that's what we need in the charter also for ethics, is to be able to see that black and white line that you don't cross.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why the emphasis should always be on education and starting a non-punitive to a level, then get punitive. But like
Yeah.
to begin with, it really should be about the ethics commission's role should really be in education. That's why I kind of like this idea of splitting it out, having an ethics commission, and then having an office that actually enforces the policy.
And I think they would have to have an office too, because with the prosecutor's office being the attorneys for the council, you can't really have them also being the prosecutors of it or the investigators of it. So
Mm-hmm.
we would have to have a separate and outside body. So the complaints go to the commission, they review it. If they find them to be with merit, then they'll either start with something simple as a warning to the council or to whoever, and saying, "Hey, it looks like you're outside of the norm in this. You should probably." They could just refer it to the investigator general, and to have an actual investigation of it if it's a serious enough complaint. So, oh, I'm losing bandwidth. Let's see what's going on here. I have to shut off my video because my bandwidth is down.
It happens.
I'm
All
on
right.
lunch, so I'm just on my cell phone. It doesn't seem to work as well.
Don't get that 5G.
I got 10G from the shot, but Microsoft isn't paying me any royalties on it, so I'm not giving them any signal.
Still got a few minutes before Terry's here. Feel like
Uh,
we're filling in space.
I don't want to get any real work done before she gets here. So, I want to make sure she feels like she's a part of
Mm-hmm.
this.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to do with our time here. So I think we've got a pretty established plan.
Yeah, I guess we could talk about timeline
Mm-hmm.
and uh, how soon we need to have something concrete to the commission. And that's going to be probably, so we'll probably have to meet weekly then to make sure because we only have a couple of weeks till they want the rough draft, right?
Yeah, so they want our proposals by the 2nd.
Yeah.
Um, and then from there we can tweak it to fit,
Whatever the public feedback is.
yeah, and fit in, well, to fit into the town hall,
Yeah.
whatever town hall presentation they put together. Um, and then, yeah, so that really only gives us 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I guess
So
we
I guess,
can meet again if this time works again next Thursday.
yeah, works great for me.
Yeah. And that'll give time for the meeting to be noticed. But we can wait for Terry to make sure it also works for her.
Yeah. And she said she was retiring. So I think she might be flexible to it. But yeah, we definitely want to check and make sure she's going to be able to participate. And I can move it around too. So if a different time frame is better for her, if 11 is better than 12, then that's fine with me too. I split my time between the Portland office and our Vancouver office, but I also have to travel a lot now too, so I can just pull over or something.
Yeah. I'm pretty flexible in being able to take lunch. I mean, this is my lunch break,
Yeah.
but I work from home, so I can pretty much set my own lunch hours.
Yeah, I don't get lunch because I'm salary, so I just take it whenever I need to take a meeting.
That's kind of, I mean, I'm salary too, so it's kind of, I normally just eat at my desk
Yeah.
and don't really take a lunch break.
Yeah, I never do. But it's not a very good example for the guys I work with, though. I got to try to be a better example.
Yeah.
All
So I
right.
have this example. So yeah, I guess I'm just kind of like we will we'll be back next week, and then in the meantime we can start sharing some stuff back and forth via email. Um, I can send out another like fresh email to the commission or this committee, I mean,
Yeah.
with the Pierce County option, the Jacksonville charter, and then that PowerPoint that kind of just goes over an overview of like why we need government ethics,
Yeah, that's a good plan.
um, and kind of what the foundation of good ethics policy is. And then we can put together a presentation for, I guess, the second. I can't imagine we're going to have the ability to get it done and on the agenda for next week.
Yeah.
So,
What do you think about putting together maybe a chart or some kind of a an easy PowerPoint type presentation or chart that we can present and say, here's our current model, and this is what it enforces. Here is the Pierce County model and how it's an upgrade to what we currently have. And here is this model from Jacksonville and what they have, and the list the different kind of like the features on a car when you're comparing the three models and say,
yeah.
okay, well, this one has a sunroof, this one, if we could do it and make it really simple to follow, it makes it the decision making process a lot easier, I think.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of like we can put together a presentation of the why, sort of the foundation of good policy, and then the sample policies of where we're at. What do we have now? What is Pierce County's, and then the like model policy, which is Jacksonville, which is like the ultimate.
Yeah. And
Um,
and looking forward, where do we want to be? Do we want to have to revise this again later? Or do we just want to be the model for this community or this state? You know,
yeah.
some good
Yeah,
questions.
and we can put together like a list of those questions to sort of ask the commission. Like, where do you guys feel? Like, what do you want to do? Do you want this to be something that we just lay down the foundation and kick the can down the road in 5 years? Or do we just come out with the best?
Exactly. Yeah.
Um,
So that's going to be an interesting conversation with the commission to see what kind of because you've got other elected officials in the on the commission that has had to serve and what kind of constraints they see this might be and or benefits. So it'll be interesting to get the feedback.
yeah, it would be nice to see, yeah, get that feedback and kind of deal like it's a good way to get an idea of what kind of pushback we'll get from, or what kind of difficulties we'll have with education to the public too.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm thinking if we had like a basic chart just to show people the differences and make it really just user visually friendly, where they could simply look at it and say, "Here's what we're getting now. This would be the upgrade and the the benefits or maybe just the uh, accountability that would come at each level." And so that it's just as simple as possible for people just to visualize and understand by voting for this, you're going to get this level of accountability. By voting for this one, you get this level of accountability. And, you know, because town halls, we're not going to have a whole lot of time to drill down into all of the aspects of it. But if we can just make it clear on this is all about accountability for elected officials. And do you believe in voting and letting them go? Or do you believe in voting for them and then having an expectation of ethics come with that?
I've got a lot of faith in the voters.
Yeah,
I think especially the way things have been in Clark County,
yeah. But there's
that
still
we're
a lot
gonna
of voters. Sorry, there's still a lot of voters though who vote and then turn it off.
yeah.
And they have an expectation that elected officials are going to do what they're supposed to be done, but then they also have in the back of their head, all politicians are crooks. And so to be able to have that assurance that says, yes, there's a trust issue here. Here is the accountability for that. And yeah, you can elect people with the expectation that they're going to do right, but there's also some teeth here if they don't, if they need to be held accountable.
Yeah.
So I think it's always fun.
Yeah, but I think, and we can kind of take a positive focus to this rather than like a attack focus, and more of just like, by instituting the better ethics policy, we can just prevent future issues rather than focusing on past issues.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to focus on any specific historical data that's in our county, but with the acknowledgement that a majority of people don't trust politicians, having a level of accountability, I think, and selling it as that is probably a good idea. But
All
yeah,
right. Still trying to waste this time for Terry to get here.
yeah,
I feel sorry for anyone who has to watch this recording.
it's a good time to go take a bio break.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go ahead. We'll do like a just do like a 3-minute break, I guess. 5-minute break.
Okay.
All right. So we're back. I don't know. think. So just action items.
Yeah.
I will I'll get us started with a summary of the Jacksonville policy. And we can start putting together a PowerPoint for
Okay.
to get on the docket. Let's make sure next week this time works for everyone. And if so, we'll go ahead and have the meeting noticed, but let's make sure before we do
Okay.
that it works. I would like to have all three of us.
Yeah, I guess if Tina doesn't hear from us, she can assume
Yeah.
that it's good to go, and we'll just notice it as is.
Yeah. We can just start another email chain um, and get feedback from Terry to make sure it works. I know, I mean, she works and can't necessarily take time whenever. So
Yeah.
find out from her what works. We'll schedule a meeting next week to touch back. And I'll work on that stuff this weekend. So we should have
Yeah.
it ready for next week.
I'll definitely have time to review all the different uh, forums, both Pierce and Jacksonville, before our next meeting. So I'll be able to more up to education level on what we're going for.
Yeah. And yeah, and I'll look over the PowerPoint from City Ethics and put together something. That'll tie those two together. And then I will plan to present on the 2nd.
Yep, yeah, and you are the acting chair, and as long as Terry doesn't have any disagreements, then you'll be the chair of the. I don't think she will, but you know.
All
Oh, there
right.
she is. There's
Oh wait, no,
Tara.
she's here. Yay.
Perfect timing. Right as we're walking out the door.
Hi there. Yeah, I'm really sorry.
Hi,
Something came up.
Terry.
Yeah, but
It's all right.
that's
Life
okay.
happens.
I can I can listen. I can watch it. Anything that you
Yeah.
guys need me to know?
Just want to make sure next week this time works for you.
Um, let me give that a peep right here. I'm actually on my phone here, so let me give it a peep. Let's see. So we're talking about Thursday. I should be back in town. I'm the night before, so I think that does work.
Okay.
Okay, cool. And Dorothy, are you the chair of this group?
As long as you agree to it.
I love it. Thank you very much.
Yes.
All right, so then just to reiterate what we decided on, I'm gonna go ahead and get us started with, I'm gonna go ahead and summarize the Jacksonville policy.
Oh, perfect.
And we'll put together a comparison between what our current ethics policy is, what the Pearson County model is, and then what the Jacksonville model is.
Okay,
And we'll plan to present that to the commission on the 2nd. So our
Okay.
next meeting will be reviewing, we can share back and forth via email, put together a PowerPoint, and plan to share that to the body on the 2nd.
okay, that's perfect. And let me know if you need me to help you with anything, putting it together or anything like that. But yeah, that sounds great. That's kind of what I thought that you guys were gonna do, something very similar, what we were gonna
Yeah.
decide. So look, you didn't even need me.
Oh yeah, we need you.
We'll need
Oh
you,
my
we'll
gosh.
need you. So, yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll start us another fresh email chain with the links to the
Perfect.
Jacksonville, the Pierce County model. And there's also a PowerPoint that City Ethics did that's kind of like an overview of the why for government ethics policy.
Okay, and
And so I think we can kind of meld
right.
those together.
Okay, okay, perfect. So you guys
Yeah.
are just
Yep.
getting ready to hang up, right?
Yeah, just getting ready so we can end this meeting
Okay.
now. Get ready.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll
sounds
make sure
good.
I take